This booth is for people who matter, not pregnant black bitches like you. Madison Clark, head waitress at Bellissimo, Manhattan's most exclusive Italian restaurant, says it loud. The black woman in booth 12, 7 months pregnant, looks up shocked. Madison grabs the ice water pitcher. "Time to wash the ghetto stink off you, honey." She dumps it over the woman's head. Ice water drenches hair, face, dress. Ice cubes tumble. The woman gasps, protecting her belly. Madison slams it down. "Crawl back to welfare before I have cops drag your black ass out in handcuffs." The door crashes open. 10 men in expensive Italian suits stride in, enforcers for crime families controlling New York. One, stocky, scarred, stares at Madison and says 4 words that drain her face white and make her hands tremble. "What happens in the next 5 minutes will be the most satisfying justice you've ever witnessed. Stay with me. You need to see this. Rewind 30 minutes before the ice water. Before the 10 men. Before Madison destroyed her life. 7 p.m. Friday night. Bellissimo is packed with Manhattan's elite closing deals over $200 steaks. Breonna Taylor walks in, alone, 7 months pregnant, simple cream dress, no designer logos, just a plain gold wedding band. Trevor Wilson, the host, greets her. "Good evening. Reservation?" "Taylor party of 2, 7 p.m., booth 12. Trevor checks his iPad. There it is. B. Taylor, booth 12. The VIP table reserved for people who matter. "Of course, Mrs. Taylor. This way." He leads her through the dining room. Heads turn. Not because they recognize her, because she doesn't look like she belongs here, where entrees cost more than car payments. Trevor seats her at booth 12, the best table in the house. That's when Madison Clark notices. Madison's worked here 4 years. She knows the regulars, the politicians, the CEOs. She knows who belongs. This woman doesn't belong. Madison approaches Trevor at the host stand. Voice low, sharp. "That's the VIP booth. Is she actually on the list?" "Taylor party of 2, 7 p.m. confirmed." Madison glances at Breonna. "Where's her husband?" "Running late. She said to seat her anyway. I'll believe it when he shows up." Ashley Martinez, another waitress, joins them. They both stare at Breonna. Ashley whispers, "Is she supposed to be there?" Madison makes air quotes. "She says she has a reservation, but look at her, cheap dress, no jewelry, taking up our best booth." Meanwhile, Breonna sits quietly, one hand on her belly, checking her phone. It buzzes. Incoming call. Screen shows. Anthony, with a heart emoji. She silences it. Types a quick text. "Take your time. I'm fine." What nobody in that restaurant knows, what they're about to learn the hard way, is that the Taylor family has run certain operations in New York for 3 generations. Anthony's grandfather came from Sicily in 1952. Started with nothing but connections. His father expanded it. Construction companies, dock unions, concrete contracts, and Anthony? He's the head now, youngest boss in family history, most dangerous man in New York. But Breonna doesn't look dangerous. She looks like a pregnant woman waiting for her husband, which is exactly why Madison Clark is about to make the worst decision of her life. 10 minutes from now, she'll wish she'd kept her mouth shut. Madison watches Breonna from across the dining room for the next 10 minutes, watching her sit there, alone, not ordering, just taking up space in the best booth in the restaurant. Every time Madison walks past booth 12 with a tray of food for another table, she makes sure Breonna sees her, makes sure Breonna knows she's being ignored on purpose. 8 minutes pass, then 9, then 10. Breonna tries to make eye contact with Madison 3 separate times. Each time, Madison looks right through her like she's invisible, like she's not even there. Finally, Breonna raises her hand slightly, a polite gesture, the universal sign for "excuse me, I'd like service." Madison sees it, makes direct eye contact, then deliberately turns and walks in the opposite direction. Ashley, watching this from the service station, smirks. She's seen Madison do this before. Freeze out customers she doesn't think belong. Usually they get the message and leave. Problem solved. But Breonna doesn't leave. She just sits there, hand on her belly, waiting patiently. Another 5 minutes pass. Now it's been 15 minutes since Breonna sat down. 15 minutes without a menu, without water, without acknowledgement. The couple in the booth next to her, Karen Whitmore and her husband, are on their 2nd round of cocktails. They've noticed. Karen keeps glancing over, then whispering to her husband. Judging, assuming. making up stories about why this pregnant black woman is sitting alone in the VIP booth. Finally, Brianna raises her hand again, higher this time, more visible. Madison can't ignore it anymore without being obvious to the other diners. She sets down the dessert menus she was carrying and walks over to booth 12. No smile, no greeting, just stands there with her arms crossed. Yes, that's it. Just yes. No how can I help you or sorry for the wait, or any of the hospitality training she received when she was hired. Brianna keeps her voice calm and polite. Hi, I'd like to order some water and maybe a caprese salad to start. My husband should be here soon. Madison doesn't write anything down, doesn't even pretend to care. Our kitchen is backed up tonight. Long wait times. Maybe you'd be more comfortable somewhere with faster service. It's not subtle. It's not even polite. It's a direct suggestion for Brianna to leave. Brianna's hand tightens slightly on her belly. She feels it, the shift, the hostility. But she keeps her composure. That's okay. I don't mind waiting. My husband will be here soon and we'll order together. Madison's lips press into a thin line. Sure he will. She says it loud enough for the neighboring tables to hear, loud enough to plant doubt, to make everyone around them question whether this husband actually exists. Karen Whitmore leans toward her husband again. More whispers, more judgment. Madison turns to walk away, but Brianna speaks up. Excuse me, could I at least get some water while I wait? Madison stops, doesn't turn around, just speaks over her shoulder. I'll see what I can do. 20 more minutes pass. No water arrives. Brianna sits there, increasingly uncomfortable as the restaurant buzzes around her. Waiters glide past, serving other tables. Wine bottles opened, plates delivered. Everyone else getting attention except her. She checks her phone again. No new messages from Anthony. She knows he's on his way. He texted earlier saying he'd be there by 7:30. It's 7:25 now, just 5 more minutes. She can wait 5 more minutes, but Madison Clark isn't done yet. Madison goes back to the service station where Ashley is refilling water glasses. She picks up a pitcher, the one filled with ice water for the tables in Section 3, and makes a decision. Ashley watches her. You actually going to give her water? Madison's expression is cold, hard. Oh, I'm going to give her water. She walks back across the dining room. This time she doesn't hide her annoyance. She's done pretending, done being subtle. She approaches booth 12 holding the pitcher in one hand. Brianna looks up relieved. Finally some service. Thank you, Brianna starts to say. I appreciate. Madison lifts the pitcher above Brianna's head and tips it forward. Ice water pours down, drenching Brianna's hair, streaming down her face, soaking into her cream-colored dress. Ice cubes tumble down her body, some bouncing off her pregnant belly, others sliding down into her lap. Brianna gasps. The cold shock of it takes her breath away. Her hands fly up instinctively to protect her baby, but it's too late. She's already soaked. Water drips from her hair down her cheeks. Her dress is ruined. Ice cubes sit in her lap, melting. Madison slams the empty pitcher onto the table with a loud bang that makes everyone nearby jump. Oops! Madison says, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Guess I should have been more careful. Maybe if you weren't taking up our best booth. Brianna sits there, trembling. Not from the cold, from shock, from humiliation. She can feel every eye in the restaurant on her. Can hear the sudden silence as conversations stop. Can see phones coming out, cameras pointing at her. She tries to speak, but her voice catches. Tears well up in her eyes despite her best efforts to hold them back. That's when Richard Thornton, the manager, finally appears. Richard is 40 years old, white, conflict-averse, the kind of manager who wants everyone to be happy but doesn't want to make waves doing it. He's been in his office doing paperwork when another server told him there's a situation in the dining room. He walks out to find Brianna drenched in water, Madison standing over her with an empty pitcher, and half the restaurant staring. What's going on here? Richard asks, though his tone suggests he already knows who he's going to side with. Brianna wipes water from her face, trying to compose herself. Her voice shakes as she speaks. Your waitress just threw water on me. I'm 7 months pregnant. I asked for service and she... Madison interrupts, her voice loud and defensive. It was an accident. She's making a scene. Richard looks at Brianna, at her soaked dress, at the ice cube still in her lap, at her tear-streaked face. Then he looks at Madison. His head waitress. Been here 4 years. Never had a complaint this serious before. He makes his choice. "Ma'am, I'm sure it was unintentional. These things happen. Let me comp your meal." "Comp my meal?" Brianna's voice rises slightly. "I haven't eaten anything. I haven't even been served. I want her to apologize, that's all. Just acknowledge what she did." Richard shifts uncomfortably. Other diners are watching now. This needs to end quickly before it becomes a bigger problem. "Madison, perhaps you could—" Madison crosses her arms. "Apologize for what? For serving her? I didn't do anything wrong. She's the one making a scene." That's when other diners start getting involved. Karen Whitmore from the next booth over leans toward her husband but speaks loud enough for everyone to hear. "Maybe she's uncomfortable because she doesn't really fit the dress code here?" Brianna is wearing a $1,200 maternity dress from a designer boutique in Soho, but it has no visible logos, no obvious branding. So to people like Karen, it looks cheap, looks wrong, looks like it came from Target. Richard latches onto this like a life raft. "Ma'am, our dress code is business casual." Brianna looks down at herself, at her soaked, expensive dress, at her simple gold wedding band, at her lack of flashy jewelry. She looks back up at Richard. "I'm wearing a $1,200 dress. Is that casual enough for you?" Madison scoffs, literally scoffs out loud. "Anyone can claim that." Ashley, who's been watching from a distance, walks over to join the pile-on. "Yeah, and anyone can make a fake reservation online these days." Brianna pulls out her phone with shaking hands. Water drips from it. It got splashed too, but it still works. She opens her email app. "I have the confirmation email right here, from your restaurant, sent 3 days ago." Madison doesn't even look at the phone. Photoshop is easy these days. You can fake anything. The accusation hangs in the air. Madison just called Brianna a liar to her face, in front of 50 witnesses. Brianna's hands start shaking harder. The tears she's been holding back start flowing freely now. This isn't about the water anymore. This is about something deeper, something uglier. A male diner at table 7, Preston Cole, a hedge fund manager in an expensive suit, mutters to his companion, "She's probably live streaming this whole thing for victim points. They all do that now." He says it quietly, but not quietly enough. Brianna hears it. Richard hears it. Madison hears it. And nobody contradicts him. Richard takes a breath. He's made his decision. "Ma'am, I think it's best if you leave. We'll refund any charges." "I haven't been charged anything," Brianna says, her voice breaking. "I haven't ordered. I haven't eaten. I've been sitting here for 30 minutes being ignored and then humiliated. And I'm telling you," Richard's voice gets firmer now, "that you need to leave. If you refuse, I'll have to call the police and report you for trespassing. The threat of police, that's the nuclear option. The thing they know will work because it always works." Brianna stares at him, at Madison, at all the faces watching her, recording her, judging her. "I'm not leaving until my husband arrives," she says quietly. "I have a reservation. I have every right to be here." Madison laughs, actually laughs. "There is no husband. You're just trying to scam a free meal." Ashley nods in agreement. "Right? She's been sitting here alone for half an hour. If he existed, he'd be here by now." More phones come out, more people recording. This is entertainment now. This is content. This is something to post later with a caption like, "Drama at Bellissimo tonight," with laughing emojis. But nobody defends Brianna. Nobody stands up and says, "Hey, this isn't right." Nobody asks if she's okay. They just watch and film and whisper. Linda Hayes, a woman in her 30s who considers herself progressive and liberal, has her phone out recording the whole thing. When Brianna makes eye contact with her, a silent plea for help, Linda looks away. "I don't want to get involved," Linda mutters to her date, but she keeps filming. Brianna's composure finally cracks completely. The tears flow freely now. Her hands rest protectively on her belly as water continues dripping from her hair, her face, her ruined dress. "I'm 7 months pregnant," she says, her voice barely above a whisper. "She threw water on me. Why is no one saying anything? Why are you all just watching?" Silence. The loneliest part of injustice isn't the act itself. It's the silence of those who witness it, the complicity of those who could speak but choose not to, the moral cowardice of people who know something is wrong but decide their comfort matters more than someone else's dignity. That's what Brianna is experiencing now. Not just Madison's cruelty, but the collective silence of 50 people who know what they're watching is wrong but won't risk saying it out loud. Richard's voice is cold now, final. "Ma'am, I'm giving you 30 seconds to leave voluntarily. After that, I'm calling the police and pressing charges for trespassing and harassment of my staff." Madison crosses her arms, a satisfied smirk on her face. "Told you, no husband, no reservation, just another scammer looking for a payout." Brianna stands up slowly. Water drips from her dress onto the leather seat. Ice cubes fall to the floor. She's shaking, from cold, from humiliation, from rage, from heartbreak. She turns to face the dining room. All those faces, all those phones, all that silence. "You're all cowards," she says quietly. "Every single one of you." Then she turns back to Madison. "And you're cruel. Whatever happens next, you earned it." Madison rolls her eyes. "And you're delusional, sweetheart." Brianna walks toward the front door, one hand on her belly, the other clutching her wet phone. She's almost at the door when her phone buzzes in her hand. She stops, looks down at the screen. Incoming text from Anthony. 4 words. "Outside, don't move." Brianna stops walking, stands completely still, one hand on the door handle, and she waits. Madison, watching from across the room, rolls her eyes and calls out, "Oh, now you're gonna pretend he's real? Nice try." But Brianna doesn't respond, doesn't move, just stands there, water still dripping from her dress, phone in her hand, facing the door. Waiting. 30 seconds pass. The restaurant is dead silent now. Everyone watching this pregnant woman standing by the door like she's waiting for something, or someone. And then, the door swings open. Before we see who walks through that door, let me show you what happened in the 5 minutes before Brianna stood up to leave. The 5 minutes when Richard Thornton and Madison Clark tried everything they could to crush her spirit completely. Go back to when Richard threatened to call the police. Brianna is still sitting in booth 12, drenched in ice water, trembling. Richard is standing over her with his phone in his hand, finger hovering over the keypad. "I'm giving you one more chance to leave voluntarily," Richard says. "Walk out now or I call 911 and report you for trespassing." Brianna wipes water from her face. Her voice is steady despite the tears. "Call them. I'll explain how your staff assaulted a 7-month pregnant woman." Richard's jaw tightens. "You're trespassing. You have no valid reservation." "I showed you the confirmation email." "That could be anyone's phone," Richard interrupts. "You could have stolen it." The accusation is so absurd that for a moment Brianna just stares at him. Did he really just accuse her of theft on top of everything else? Madison jumps in, sensing an opportunity. "I saw her acting suspicious earlier, looking around like she was planning something." Ashley nods vigorously. "Yeah, I noticed that too. She seemed nervous. They're manufacturing evidence now, creating a narrative. 2 staff members against 1 customer, 2 white women against 1 black woman, 2 people with institutional power against 1 person with none. And it's working." Richard turns to Trevor Wilson, the host who originally seated Brianna. "Trevor, did you actually verify her reservation when she came in?" Trevor hesitates. He's 23 years old, been working here for 6 months. This is just a job to pay rent while he's in grad school. He doesn't want problems, doesn't want to be the guy who contradicts his manager and the head waitress. He knows he seated her, knows he saw the reservation on the iPad, knows her name was right there. B. Taylor, 7 p.m., booth 12, but he also knows which answer will keep him employed. I don't remember seating her," Trevor says quietly, not making eye contact with Brianna. It's a lie, and everyone knows it's a lie, but it's the lie Richard needs. "There you go," Richard says, turning back to Brianna. "No one remembers seating you. No valid reservation. You're trespassing." Brianna looks at Trevor, stares right at him, silently begging him to tell the truth, to be brave, to do the right thing. Trevor looks down at his shoes. The betrayal hits harder than the water did. Brianna turns to the other diners, the 50 people who've been watching this entire scene unfold. Surely someone will speak up. Surely someone saw what really happened. "Did anyone here see what happened?" she asks, her voice breaking. "Did anyone see her throw water on me?" Linda Hayes, the woman who's been recording everything on her phone, quickly puts it away. "I don't want to get involved." But she has over 60 seconds of video on her phone. Clear footage of Madison pouring water on a pregnant woman. Evidence that could end this right now. She keeps it to herself. Preston Cole, the hedge fund manager, shrugs. Look, you're clearly upset. Maybe just leave? Why make this harder than it needs to be? Karen Whitmore shakes her head, speaking to her husband, but loud enough for everyone to hear. This is exactly why we stopped going out. Always some kind of drama. Drama. She called it drama, as if what Brianna is experiencing is somehow her fault, as if she chose this. Brianna stands up, water still dripping from her dress, and addresses the entire room. Her voice is louder now, desperate. I'm 7 months pregnant. She threw water on me. She called me names. Your manager is threatening to have me arrested, and you're all just sitting there, recording, watching. Why won't anyone say anything? The silence that follows is deafening. An older black man sitting at table 7, the only other black person in the restaurant, starts to rise from his seat. His wife immediately puts her hand on his arm, stopping him. Don't, she whispers urgently. Please, not here. He looks at Brianna, then at his wife, then slowly sits back down. He knows. He knows exactly what's happening, has probably experienced it himself 100 times, but he also knows the cost of speaking up in a room full of white people who've already decided what the truth is. So he stays silent, and Brianna is alone. Richard's voice cuts through the silence. Last chance, leave now or I call the police. 30 seconds. He's not bluffing. His finger is already pulling up the phone app. Madison stands beside him, arms crossed, smiling. This is what she wanted. This is the outcome she engineered from the moment she saw Brianna sitting in booth 12. Ashley stands on the other side, backing her up, a united front. Brianna reaches for her phone with shaking hands. It's wet. The screen is cracked from when it hit the table during the water assault, but it still works. She opens her messages, scrolls to Anthony, types with trembling fingers. They're kicking me out, about to call police. I'm leaving. She hits send. Then she stands up. Water pools on the leather seat. Ice cubes roll onto the floor. Her expensive dress is ruined, her dignity shredded, her faith in humanity fractured, but she's not broken. Not yet. I'm leaving, she says quietly to Richard. But you should know, you just made the worst decision of your career. Richard waves dismissively. That sounds like a threat. It's not a threat. It's a fact. Madison laughs. Oh, please, what are you gonna do? Leave a bad Yelp review? Brianna doesn't respond. She just turns and walks toward the front door. Every step leaves wet footprints on the expensive hardwood floor. Every step is witnessed and recorded by dozens of phones. But still, no one helps. No one offers her a towel. No one apologizes. No one says that was wrong. They just watch her walk away. She reaches the front door and puts her hand on the handle. She's about to push it open, about to walk out into the Manhattan night, drenched and humiliated and alone. That's when her phone buzzes. She looks down. New message from Anthony. Her heart skips. The message says, "Outside, don't move." Brianna stops, completely still. Hand on the door handle, water still dripping. She doesn't open the door, doesn't move, just stands there and waits. Madison, watching from across the restaurant, calls out mockingly, "What now? Your imaginary husband about to appear?" The other diners laugh. Actual laughter. They think this is funny. Think this pregnant woman standing soaked and trembling by the door is entertainment. Richard starts walking toward her. "Ma'am, if you're not leaving..." That's when the door opens. Not from Brianna pulling it. From someone pushing it from outside. The door swings open hard, fast, with force, and standing in the doorway is someone Madison Clark is about to wish she'd never met. The door swings open hard, not from Brianna pulling it, from someone pushing it from outside. But before we see who walks through that door, you need to understand what led to this moment. Rewind 5 minutes. Brianna is still sitting in booth 12, drenched, trembling. Richard stands over her, phone in hand. "Last chance to leave voluntarily. Walk out now, or I call 911 for trespassing." Brianna wipes water from her face. "Call them. I'll explain how your staff assaulted a pregnant woman. You're trespassing. No valid reservation." "I showed you the confirmation. Could be anyone's phone." Richard cuts her off. "Could be stolen." Madison jumps in. "I saw her acting suspicious earlier, looking around like she was planning something." Ashley nods. "Yeah, seemed nervous to me too." Nervous. They're manufacturing evidence now. 2 staff members against 1 customer, 2 white women against 1 black woman. Richard turns to Trevor Wilson, the host. Trevor, did you verify her reservation? Trevor hesitates. He's 23, grad student, doesn't want problems. He knows he seated her, saw the reservation clearly. B. Taylor, 7 p.m., booth 12. But he also knows which answer keeps him employed. I don't remember seating her, Trevor says quietly, avoiding eye contact. It's a lie. Everyone knows it's a lie. There you go, Richard says. No one remembers. You're trespassing. Brianna looks at Trevor, silently begging him to tell the truth. Trevor stares at his shoes. Brianna turns to the other diners. Did anyone see what happened? Did anyone see her throw water on me? Linda Hayes, who recorded everything, puts her phone away. I don't want to get involved. Preston Cole shrugs. You're upset. Maybe just leave? Why make this harder? Karen Whitmore speaks loudly to her husband. This is why we stopped eating out, always drama. Brianna stands, water dripping. I'm 7 months pregnant. She threw water on me. Your manager threatened to arrest me, and you're all just watching. Why won't anyone say anything? Silence. The older black man at table 7 starts to rise. His wife grabs his arm. Don't, please, not here. He sits back down. Richard's voice is final. 30 seconds. Leave or I call police. Madison smiles. Ashley backs her up. Brianna types on her wet, cracked phone. They're kicking me out. About to call police. I'm leaving. She hits send. Water pools on the seat. Ice cubes roll to the floor. Her dress is ruined. Her dignity shredded. I'm leaving, she says. But you just made the worst decision of your career. Richard waves dismissively. That's a threat. It's a fact. Madison laughs. What are you gonna do? Bad Yelp review? Brianna walks toward the door. Wet footprints on expensive hardwood. Phones recording. Nobody helping. She reaches the door. Hand on the handle. Her phone buzzes. Message from Anthony. Outside, don't move. Brianna stops, completely still. Madison calls out mockingly, Your imaginary husband about to appear? The diners laugh. Richard walks toward her. Ma'am, if you're not leaving... The door swings open. Hard, fast, with force. The first thing everyone notices is the silence outside. Manhattan on Friday night is never quiet. Car horns, sirens, people. The constant city hum. But right now, the street is completely silent, like someone hit pause. Then they walk in. 10 men in expensive Italian suits, black on black, custom tailored, perfect fit, the kind that cost more than most people's cars. They move in formation, precise, military. 2 position themselves by the door. Nobody's leaving without permission. 2 more head to the kitchen entrance, just watching. The remaining 6 spread through the dining room. Don't sit, don't speak, just stand. Every conversation dies, every fork stops, every camera lowers. Because these aren't regular people. Everyone can feel it. Something about how they move, how they look at people, how they own the space. These are dangerous men. And leading them is Anthony Taylor. 38, but carries himself older. 6'2", broad shoulders, sharp jaw, dark eyes that miss nothing. Small scar above his left eyebrow. Didn't inherit power, earned it. Charcoal gray suit, $15,000. No tie, top button undone. $40,000 watch. Wedding ring on his left hand. The same ring Brianna wears. Madison, still holding the empty pitcher near booth 12, watches with confusion. Doesn't understand why everyone looks terrified. Richard has gone pale, hands shaking, because Richard knows. Lived in New York long enough to recognize what he's seeing. The suits, the formation, the movement, these aren't customers. Madison whispers to Richard urgently, Who are they? Should I? Vincent Vinny DeLuca steps forward, stocky, scar across his cheek. Eyes lock onto Madison. He doesn't raise his voice. He points one finger at Brianna, standing by the door, drenched, trembling, says 4 words, She's the boss's wife. Dead silence. The kind that happens when everyone realizes they witnessed something terrible and there's no taking it back. Madison's face drains white. All color, all confidence, all smugness, gone. The empty pitcher slips from her shaking hands, crashes to the floor, shatters into pieces. The sound echoes like a gunshot. Madison understands now. The woman she humiliated, threw water on, mocked, tried to have arrested. She's not nobody. She's married to the most dangerous man in New York. Madison's legs nearly give out. She grabs booth 12 to steady herself, hands shaking. Oh my God, she whispers. Oh my God. Ashley backs away, trying to disappear. Karen Whitmore looks faint. Preston Cole deletes his videos frantically. Linda Hayes does the same, erasing evidence, pretending she wasn't complicit. Too late. Anthony Taylor hasn't said a word, just stands there, looking at Brianna, his wife, soaking wet, hair dripping, dress ruined, tears on her face, hands protecting her belly. His expression shifts to something dangerous. Jaw clenches, hands curl into fists, breathing deliberate, in through nose, out through mouth, physically stopping himself from violence. The 10 men tense, waiting, ready. But he doesn't give the order. He crosses the room instead. The crowd parts instantly. People press against walls, creating a path. 4 long strides. He reaches Brianna. When he touches her, everything changes. The rage stays, simmering in his eyes, but his hands are gentle, careful. He cups her face. Amore mio, are you hurt? Did anyone touch you? Voice low, controlled, but an edge that makes everyone nervous. Brianna shakes her head. I'm okay. You're here. I'm okay now. Anthony's thumb wipes her tears. Eyes scan her face, the wet hair, soaked dress, the fear and humiliation still visible. Who did this? Not a question, a promise. Brianna doesn't answer. Anthony's eyes move across the restaurant, reading the room, identifying targets past terrified diners, past Richard looking sick, past Ashley trying to hide, landing on Madison Clark by booth 12, surrounded by broken glass, white as paper, shaking. Anthony just looks at her, studies her, lets her feel what's coming. Then he takes Brianna's hand, gently like she's glass, and leads her to booth 12, to her seat. He removes his suit jacket, drapes it over her shoulders. Warm, smells like his cologne, safe. Then he turns to face the room. Vinny steps beside him, pulls out a tablet, taps it, turns it to show the restaurant, security footage, from Bellissimo's cameras. Madison approaching booth 12, lifting the pitcher, deliberately pouring water on Brianna's head, crystal clear. No ambiguity, no accident. We have cameras on every entrance in this neighborhood, Vinny says, voice carrying. Saw everything tonight, every word, every action. He turns to Madison. You name. Madison's voice cracks. Madison Clark, I'm the head waitress. There was a misunderstanding. Madison Clark. Vinny repeats, tapping his tablet. 28. Lives at 332 West 19th Street, apartment 3B. 4 years here. Makes $32,000 plus tips. Parents in Connecticut, 1 sister, no criminal record. Madison goes paler. How do you... We know everything. That's how we stay in business. Anthony hasn't spoken, just stands there, hand on Brianna's shoulder, watching Madison, letting her feel the weight before he speaks. Finally, voice quiet, calm, terrifying. I'm going to ask one time, who threw water on my wife? The way he says my wife makes it clear. This isn't just assault. This is personal. Madison tries backpedaling. Sir, your wife? She didn't say if I'd known. Anthony raises one hand. She stops. You didn't know who she was. That's the problem. You saw a black woman, pregnant, alone, decided she didn't belong, decided she didn't deserve respect. 1 step toward Madison. She steps back. She didn't tell you who she was, didn't drop my name, didn't flash credentials. Know why? Because she shouldn't have to. Every person through that door deserves respect, not because of who they're married to, not because of money, because they're human. Another step. But you didn't see a human, did you, Madison? You saw someone you thought you could disrespect without consequences. He's directly in front of her now. My name is Anthony Taylor. The woman you humiliated is my wife, Brianna Taylor. The name hits like a bomb, gasps. Someone drops a fork, it clatters. People who know understand. The Taylor family, 3 generations, construction, unions, docks, real estate, legitimate businesses, and underneath, things that don't appear on paper. Things people whisper about. Anthony isn't just rich. He's connected, protected, untouchable. And Madison threw water on his pregnant wife. The reckoning has begun. For a long moment, Madison just stands there, frozen. The pieces of the shattered pitcher scattered around her feet like her entire life just broke apart on the floor. Then she starts crying. Real tears, desperate tears. Mr. Taylor, please, I'm so sorry. I didn't know who she was. If I'd known... Anthony cuts her off. That's the problem. You didn't know, and you treated her like trash because of it. I made a mistake. You made a choice. Anthony corrects her coldly. Every word you said, every action you took, those were choices. Madison sinks to her knees, literally begging now. I'll lose everything, my apartment, my job, my whole life, please. And that's when something unexpected happens. Brianna speaks. Anthony, just his name, quiet, but he hears it. He turns to look at her. She's still sitting in booth 12, wrapped in his suit jacket, but her tears have stopped. Her hands rest on her belly, and despite everything she's been through tonight, there's something in her eyes that isn't anger. It's something else. Anthony, wait. He walks back to her, crouches down beside the booth so he's at eye level, takes her hand. Amore, you don't have to do this. You don't owe them anything. I know, she says softly, but I want to. She looks past him to Madison, who's still on her knees, mascara running, completely broken. Madison, Brianna says, stand up. Madison slowly gets to her feet, can barely make eye contact. Look at me, Brianna says firmly. Madison looks up, meets her eyes. Why did you do it? Brianna asks. Really, I want the truth. Madison's voice cracks as she speaks. I don't know. You look so confident, so comfortable, like you belong there more than I ever have. And I've worked here for 4 years and I still don't feel like I belong anywhere. Brianna nods slowly. So you made sure I didn't belong either? Yes. Madison whispers. I'm so sorry, that doesn't make it okay. Nothing makes it okay, but yes. Brianna is quiet for a moment. Then she turns to Anthony. I don't want her destroyed, she says clearly. I want her educated. Anthony's jaw tightens. Brianna, I know what you want to do, she says gently, squeezing his hand. And I love you for wanting to protect me. But destroying her won't heal what happened tonight. It'll just create more pain. She looks at Madison again. You're fired. That's not negotiable. You assaulted me. There are consequences. Madison nods, tears streaming. But, Brianna continues, my husband and I will pay for you to take a 6-month intensive course. Diversity training, conflict resolution, understanding implicit bias, all of it. Madison's eyes widen. What? Why would you? Because I don't want you to just lose your job and learn nothing, Brianna says. I want you to understand why what you did was wrong. I want you to be better. Anthony stands up, clearly conflicted, but he trusts his wife. He always has. If you complete the program, he says to Madison, his voice still cold but slightly less sharp, and I mean complete it, full attendance, documented participation, passing grades, I'll write you a letter of recommendation, not for fine dining, but for somewhere you can start over. Madison can barely speak. Thank you. I don't deserve. You don't, Anthony agrees flatly. But my wife believes in second chances, so do it for her, not for you. He turns to Richard. Same offer. Take the training. Prove you learned something. Then maybe someday you'll manage again, but not here. And not for a very long time. Richard nods quickly. Yes, thank you. I will. I promise. And if either of you fails to complete the program, Vinny adds from across the room, or if we hear about either of you discriminating against anyone ever again. He doesn't finish the sentence. He doesn't need to. Anthony turns to address the entire restaurant now, all the diners who watched, who recorded, who stayed silent. And the rest of you, his voice carries across the room, sharp and clear. You sat here and watched my pregnant wife get humiliated. You filmed it, you laughed about it, you made assumptions, and not one of you spoke up. Linda Hayes, who has 60 seconds of video evidence on her phone, suddenly finds her shoes very interesting. You filmed her, Anthony continues, looking directly at Linda. You have evidence of what happened, but you weren't going to share it unless it benefited you, were you? Linda's face burns red. I just didn't want... You didn't want to get involved, Anthony finishes. That's what everyone says. I didn't want to get involved. But your silence? That's involvement. Your silence was a choice. He looks around at all of them. Every person in this room made a choice tonight. To watch, to film, to assume, to stay quiet. Preston Cole, who called Brianna a liar earlier, tries to shrink into his seat. You, Anthony points at him. You accuse my wife of faking this for victim points. You want to repeat that now? Now that you know who she is? Preston's voice is barely audible. No, I was wrong. I'm sorry. You're not sorry you said it, Anthony says coldly. You're sorry I heard it. There's a difference. He addresses the room again. Your meals tonight are comped. All of them. But that's not a reward. That's so you remember this. So every time you think about the free dinner you got, you remember what you watched happen to earn it. Karen Whitmore, who complained about drama, looks like she might cry. And next time you see someone being treated unfairly, Anthony continues, maybe you'll remember tonight. Maybe you'll be the one person who speaks up instead of the 50 who stay silent. The older black man from table 7, the one whose wife stopped him from intervening, finally speaks up. You're right, he says quietly. I should have said something. I'm sorry. Anthony looks at him, nods once. You're free to go. Your meal is on me. Because Anthony understands the calculation that man had to make, the risk assessment, the knowledge that speaking up as a black man in a room full of white people can end very differently than staying quiet. He understands it because he's lived it. The restaurant stays silent. Nobody moves. Nobody argues. Anthony helps Brianna stand up, keeps his arm around her, protective and gentle. We're leaving, he says to Vinny. Make sure Tony follows through on the donation and the training program. Send someone to audit. Already on it, boss. Anthony leads Brianna toward the door. The 10 men in suits fall into formation around them, creating a protective barrier, making sure nobody gets close. Madison, still standing by the broken pitcher, calls out one more time. Mrs. Taylor, thank you. I'll complete the program, I swear. Brianna pauses, looks back. I hope you do, Madison, I really do. Not for me. For the next person who walks into a restaurant and just wants to be treated like a human being. They walk out. The door closes behind them, and Bellissimo, Manhattan's most exclusive Italian restaurant, sits in complete heavy silence. 3 months later, Madison Clark sits in a classroom at the Manhattan Community Center in Brooklyn. It's Wednesday evening, 7 p.m. The same time she used to start her dinner shift at Bellissimo, but she's not a waitress anymore. She's a student. The diversity training program Anthony and Brianna paid for isn't what she expected. It's not some corporate seminar where you watch videos and sign a form saying you attended. It's real. It's intense. It's uncomfortable. Week 1, they watched video testimony from people who've experienced discrimination. Madison cried through most of it. Saw herself in the stories. Heard her own words coming out of other people's mouths. Week 4, they did role-playing exercises. Madison had to sit where Brianna sat. Had someone stand over her and say the things she said. Pour water on her head, actual water, ice cold, so she could feel what it felt like. She threw up afterward, from shame. Week 8, she had to write a 10-page essay analyzing her own implicit biases. Where they came from, how they manifested, what damage they caused. She's on week 11 now, almost done. Tonight's session is about restorative justice, about how to repair harm, about how to be better. After class, Madison volunteers at the community center, 3 nights a week, helping families in predominantly black neighborhoods, listening to their stories, learning their names, seeing them as humans instead of assumptions. It's slow, it's painful, it's necessary. Last week, a black woman came in with her kids, single mother, working 2 jobs, struggling to make rent. Madison helped her fill out the assistance forms, got her connected with resources, spent an hour just listening. As the woman was leaving, she turned back. Thank you. You didn't have to do all that. Madison smiled. A real smile, not the fake customer service one she used to wear. Yes, I did. I owe it. She didn't explain what she meant, but she knew. At her apartment, Madison keeps a photo on her fridge. It's not of family or friends. It's a screenshot from that night. The security footage Vinny showed on his tablet. Madison pouring water on Brianna. She looks at it every morning, reminds herself of who she was, who she refuses to be again. Next to the photo is a letter. Came 2 weeks ago from someone named Brianna Taylor. Madison's read it 50 times, memorized every word. Madison, I hope you're taking the program seriously. I hope you're learning. Not because I need an apology. I've already forgiven you. But because the world needs people who've been cruel to become people who choose kindness. We have enough cruelty already. Be better. For yourself. For the people you'll meet tomorrow. For everyone. Brianna. Madison cried when she read it the first time. Still cries sometimes when she reads it now. She's going to finish this program. Going to pass. Going to get that letter of recommendation from Anthony Taylor. And then she's going to spend the rest of her life making sure no one else experiences what Brianna experienced that night. Meanwhile, across town, Richard Thornton sits in the same training program, same Wednesday night class, same uncomfortable revelations about himself. He finished his 10-page essay last week. The prompt was, Describe a moment when you chose institutional comfort over individual justice. He wrote about Brianna, about threatening to call the police on a pregnant woman because it was easier than confronting his staff, about choosing to believe Madison because it protected the restaurant's reputation, about being a coward. The essay is posted on Medium now, public, searchable, attached to his real name. It's been read 487,000 times. The comments are brutal. Some people call him names. Some people say he should be in jail. Some people say he's only apologizing because he got caught. But some people, a smaller number but meaningful, say things like, "Thank you for being honest. I've done similar things. I need to do better too." Richard is using the attention, turned his shame into action, started a consulting firm that teaches bystander intervention specifically to restaurant managers and hospitality workers. His first client, Tony Castellano at Bellissimo, required by Anthony Taylor. His second client, a hotel chain in New Jersey that had their own discrimination scandal. He's not making much money yet. Lost his savings when he lost his job, had to downsize his apartment. His kids had to switch to public school. But he's building something real, something that matters. And in a different part of the city, Brianna Taylor sits in a hospital room holding a newborn baby. Dante Michael Taylor, 8 pounds, 4 ounces, born 3 weeks ago, healthy, perfect. Anthony sits beside her, one arm around his wife, one finger being gripped by his son's tiny hand. "He's beautiful," Anthony says quietly. "He really is," Brianna agrees. There's a knock on the door. A nurse enters with a delivery. "Mrs. Taylor, this just arrived for you." It's a letter, handwritten. Madison's return address in the corner. Brianna opens it, reads silently, then smiles. "What is it?" Anthony asks. "Madison finished the program, graduated top of her class. She's working at a community center in Brooklyn now, helping families." Anthony nods. "Good." Brianna looks down at Dante, sleeping peacefully in her arms. "You know what I want him to learn? Not that the world is always fair, because it's not. But that when it's unfair, some people fight to make it better, and some people become better themselves." Anthony kisses her forehead. He's got the best teacher. "So let me ask you again. Have you ever watched injustice unfold and done nothing?" Madison Clark made a choice that night, to humiliate, to demean, to abuse her power. Richard Thornton made a choice, to threaten, to silence, to choose comfort over courage. And 50 people in that restaurant made a choice, to watch, to film, to stay silent. But here's the thing about choices. You get to make new ones. Madison chose to learn, to change, to be better. Richard chose accountability, to teach others, to never be a coward again. And Brianna? She chose grace. She chose to offer redemption instead of revenge, because that's what justice really looks like. Not just punishment, transformation. 1 in 3 Americans witness discrimination in public spaces every year. Only 6% speak up. The next time you see someone being dismissed, diminished, or disrespected, be the 6%. One voice can break the silence. One action can flip the script, because respect isn't about who you are. It's about who you choose to be when you see someone who needs it. Be that person. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment telling me about a time you spoke up or wish you had. And subscribe, because every week we bring you stories where justice wins and silence loses. Remember Brianna Taylor. Remember Madison Clark. Remember that night at Bellissimo. And the next time you see injustice, remember you have a choice. Make the right one.